There we go. I think that worked. I think it worked.
Oh, hi.
I'd say we're live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the FiveStack. I'm Dean. That is Zev Shalev, narrative.org. You're telling me that we're on right now? Is that what you're telling me? I
I'm
have
sort of
no way of
guessing.
knowing.
I'm guessing, but I think we are. I'd say we are. I'd say hi,
I
everybody.
don't see it.
I see it.
I don't see it.
I see it.
Oh, do you? Oh, hi.
I
Hi.
see it.
see
I got a message. We're live streaming now.
Oh, hey! Denmark. There's Jacob Karsbo, former Danish intelligence officer, UN Security Council member, and apparently my chaperone when I head to Copenhagen next week, which will be fun. See him in Greenland. We'll get to that. That is Zev Shalev, narrative.org, venerable investigative reporter, all-around good guy, and not someone you want to meet in a dark alley. He will take you down. Dude.
I'm not a fighter. I don't know how to fight.
I'm making it up. I'm trying to give you a really cool reputation.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My name is Dean. This is the FiveStack. We do it every day. 5 major breaking news stories, and we had insanity in Davos, Switzerland today. And Greenland is still top of mind. Conversations around Trump's speech in Davos that he blinked. You and I chatted earlier today, Zev. I don't think he did. I think it's a choice of language. Jacob Karsbo, what did you make? Let's start there if you can. Trump, Davos, crash out, embarrassment. It's being called, by the way, a stupefying speech by Donald Trump, and those are world leaders that are talking about it. What are you hearing about the response? And let's get to the real ticket here, which is Trump saying he's not going to take Greenland by force, Jacob.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that very sentence was what made most commentators celebrate here around Denmark. And I'm the one to urge caution and say, hey, just wait, because in the next sentence, he said, I don't have to take it militarily or by force. So let's not put our guards down because, he can flip again tomorrow. I just saw his latest Truth Social post where he also said that the taxes wouldn't be imposed, the tariffs wouldn't be imposed that he threatened last weekend. But again, it can all flip. He was referencing an agreement with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. And I don't know what he has agreed, because what I do know is our foreign minister agreed something with J.D. Vance, and suddenly that was null and void. So let's see what's what happens next. What I will say, Dean, though, is I think the risk that we're ending up in an all-out invasion in Greenland in a couple of days is lower now.
Subsided.
But,
I think that's right.
it's lower there. But let's see how long it lasts.
Partly
Sorry,
because
Zev,
of what.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. But I want to follow up
Yeah.
on the language that he used to Jacob's
Sure.
point, and then just a couple of different interesting capacities that they won't invade Greenland with. But yeah, they still have every intention. Sorry, Zev, go ahead.
I think the reason that we're seeing him back down is because of the way Europe reacted or preempted his potential attack there. I think if Europe had just snoozed their way through this period of time, he would have invaded and just caught everyone by surprise. But the fact that Europe, and particularly Denmark, was so smart in putting together a really forceful front and saying, we're not going to do this, we're going to send our troops there right away, it sort of caught him off guard. And that's just one piece of it. The other piece of it is it completely neutralized his argument that Russia was the threat. He kept arguing that we have to take Greenland because the Danes have failed to protect it against the Russians. So when they send in the troops, they, hey, we're defending against Russia now. Mm-hmm. You can't be that upset with us. And yet he still was upset. So that's sort of that paradox, I think, is what caused him to rethink it. So I think the Europe stance was really important. And I also think that the attention brought to the story by the Europeans, including you guys, have done a tremendous job to make senators aware of what was going on. And I happen to know that a few senators were like, if you go anywhere near Greenland, we are not sure you're going to continue as the president. That they think that then that NATO is one of those red lines that I don't think any senator is willing to cross.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope so. But I always say to people, I've seen stranger things happen around Trump, and especially the way that he survived having instigated 6th of January. So
Yeah.
also, I always caution.
Absolutely, you can't trust
People.
this guy. No one can trust this guy. You know, he's just, but he has laid back.
And no one.
Sorry,
And no one can trust the GOP in Congress either. I don't think, because after 6th of January, they were all gone from his support, and then only a few weeks later they were nodding and we didn't mean it and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's really true.
It was a tour. It was a tour.
Did you notice
it wasn't
he
a mob.
kept calling it Iceland? Did you notice that? He doesn't even know what country he's talking about.
Iceland.
All I want is Iceland.
It's like we've been talking about Iceland all this time.
You guys never do anything for us. We do everything for NATO. You'll never come to our tent. And we've been paying 100% for NATO for 1,000 years, and you won't even give us Iceland. And everybody's like,
I
Greenland?
Yeah,
the guy is not holding it
was an
together.
hour of rambling stuff.
Well, and I think, other than the clever use of language, because the two takeaways I have, and I want to kind of go back to the language that he used where he said, Jacob, we're not going to use force. And then he looked at the crowd and they're all, oh, thank God. And he's like, see, you're all like, he just loved the theater of being the guy that put everybody in that room on edge for a couple of weeks so he could try to look like a fucking deal maker so he could get some sovereign land from Denmark, namely the biggest island in the world, Greenland. But here's the catch. When he said, and I want your take on this, when he said, I'm not taking it by force, you can all fucking relax, it's all good. When he said that, something happened in my head where I went to the idea that Narsarsak still has a completely fucking venerable airstrip to land pretty much anything in. Patuffik is completely fucking operational. There are a couple of other U.S. bases that wouldn't take long to clean up and get operational as well that have been derelict for years. And then you combine that with these three treaties, specifically the NATO treaty and the World War II treaty, which says, hey, you can put as many, U.S. personnel in here as you want. So my question is, no invasion, no threat of a forced invasion. But what about encroachment by sticking hundreds of thousands of fucking troops into these air bases with all these, allies standing around going, well, they're allowed to do this, but we were told to shoot. So, to me, his choice of language left that door open to effectively treat Greenland like a parasite of U.S. forces that go in and that are legally allowed, according to 3 separate treaties, to put as many installations, as many soldiers, as much artillery on that island as fucking possible.
Yeah, that's right. Who knows what follows next? But I think the crux of the matter really is whether this will be like in a NATO framework that's agreed, because that's all part and parcel of it. So I mean, when the Europeans talk about this, this is about defense planning in the NATO. Under NATO auspices, etc., etc. What does each nation have to do in each theater? And if Trump just starts going, into some crazy mode, it's still gonna be very odd, because, as we've talked about previously, Greenland. Now I said ice again. Greenland is a whole ice. And from Pituffik down to the nearest, I wouldn't even call it city, but just a village or a town is more than 1,000 kilometers. So it's not as if you can use that as a bridgehead to, do anything. And so it will be difficult to control like that. But
And anything,
what we do know in Denmark is all these subversive activities that have started, and that is also to turn over the Greenland population and to make sure that they want to go away from Denmark. So the big question then is, if Trump starts to feed in troops and Denmark and Greenland agrees to more bases, what effect is that going to have on the Greenlandic population? Because they're not going to like it, because they know about China and Russia, and it's not it's got nothing to do with the whole thing. Except, I mean, I guess you could even imagine a scenario where Putin, who has supported Trump's venture of taking Greenland, will send some ships just to further Trump's
Theater.
arguments.
Yeah, make it look like it. I mean, it was funny too, because the other day China was like, "Hey, we're nowhere near Greenland, Trump. Stop lying."
We haven't been there for more than 10 years, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
But it is true that China and Russia are watching what he does with Greenland very carefully, because certainly if he's able to take Greenland, it'll give China more of a signal that it can go for Taiwan, and it'll give Putin more of a signal that he can do further expanding. And if you look at the supposed horse trading that was going on, if you look at him pulling away from Ukraine in exchange for what? Why did he pull out of Ukraine? Some people suspect it was for Venezuela and Greenland in sort of a hemisphere sort of trade-off. If that's the case and he can't take Greenland, well, does he go for Canada next? Also, same problem. You got a NATO problem there as well. Or does the deal fall apart? The whole deal with Putin and Xi is all about trading these pieces of property. What if that falls apart?
No, because I think Putin will say that's not my business. Let's just fight these stubborn Danes and Europeans together, and indeed that's what we see them do by undermining the electoral systems, by supporting Viktor Orban and all these nationalists in the European countries. So I think then they are undermining the European political systems together.
Yeah, good point about that. Yeah,
that's what we see happen. When my just another little commercial here for my book, because
Subverted by Jacob Carsbo.
Yes, Subverted. Because we go through some of that evidence from the Romanian elections and whatever else we have picked up. But the Russians and Trump and the MAGA movement have played on the same horses. So
I'm glad you mentioned Romania. There was a scene at Davos today where the Romanian, the Kremlin, the head of this party that is running Romania, or is opposition in Romania, and some U.S. Congress people were cutting up some cake, and I think I can show it to you. Maybe I can't. It's a cake of Greenland. Maybe you can't see it. I don't think I can make you see it.
Washington D.C. yesterday.
What?
I think it was in Washington D.C. yesterday for the 1 year anniversary. Yeah, that's the.
What was this for? The 1 year?
There.
Can you turn the audio of this off so I can hear Jacob, or Jakob, whatever you want to call it. Sorry, this is a map of Greenland. Romanian and U.S. officials have a map of Greenland cake that has the flag of the United States on it, and they're carving it up with a knife.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was yesterday in Washington, D.C., for the 1 year anniversary of Trump's regime taking over. And who else was there? Our friend from Greenland, Boasen, the MAGA agent in Greenland. So I think
the bricklaying leader of MAGA in Greenland?
Yes. And because he was in Washington, D.C. yesterday. So I suspect what they've done is they've gathered all the MAGA agents from around the world for this particular scene here. And when we followed the Romanian elections, Putin's arguments and Trump's arguments, were in exact. They were dovetailing each other. I mean, it was just synchronized. The same arguments they were raising. Uh, Crazy.
Yeah, well, this is insanity. Like that video, I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know that happened and happened in Washington. That's Anna Paulina Luna, by the way, who's just fucking
Yeah.
insane. She's the one that's begging Kirill Dmitriev for attention, taking books about Putin from him, talking about how much she loves Russia. Let's restart relations. She is such a fucking brilliant, useful idiot. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, Jacob.
She is. And Kirill Dmitriev today in Davos had meetings with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Just telling you.
Very interesting. Fucking interesting. Yeah, I love how you rub your chin. 25 years of spy work. This has got my spidey senses tingling. Wow, it's fascinating. So because that's where the action happens. And Lev wrote something about it too. He's like, hey, listen, Davos, that's all performative distraction bullshit, like Trump's insane speech. And I want you to weigh in on that too. But the thing that everybody gives a shit about is what happens on the sidelines of these meetings. Who's meeting who? I find that Kushner, Witkoff, Dmitriev meeting specifically today absolutely fucking fascinating. And I'm fascinated by the idea that fucking, the Russian delegation is sharing screen time meeting rooms with leaders of the EU and the rest of the fucking world. I know that's how it works, but that is shocking to me.
It is. It is. And also, this morning, Dmitriev shared a post by Trump where he, on Truth Social, also, or was it on X? He passed, he retweeted something where someone says, "Well, there's no threat from Russia and China. The trouble is NATO," and Trump just retweeted that. So there you
Today?
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go check
What did you?
Dmitriev's
I will.
account on X.
Yeah, I will. Before we let you go, we put out a couple of pieces. We're going to talk about it coming up in a couple of minutes, but maybe kicking off the conversation. What did you? What did you make of Mark Carney's speech at the World Economic Forum yesterday, as opposed to Donald Trump's speech at the World Economic Forum today?
So there was a little bit of edge in terms of quality, I'd say. Oh, brilliant! And I think hopefully, the Europeans woke up, as I used to say to people around here. Who's got the most skin in the game? That's the Canadians. What's their approach? Maybe we should look more at what they are doing. And I think really when I hear our government here and people around Denmark, many other countries. You also heard Macron yesterday in Davos. So I will say I think the coin has dropped for most of the European leaders, and of course that's why Trump was throwing more sand into their eyes today in Davos. But what our government is talking about regarding Greenland, just to mention an example, is that the deployment there is long term, and we're going to have 1,000 soldiers plus in Greenland over this year. The French are there. We'll send more. Yeah, there will be a significant presence up there.
Can't hear you, Zev. Zev,
There's something
we don't have any
wrong
audio.
with Sev's audio.
No audio, dude. Yeah. Gonna have to fix your audio.
Oh,
While
you
you're
can hear me
fixing
now.
your audio. Oh, yeah, we got you. What were you going to ask?
I was
You were
going to say
gonna
just sorry about that, but the takeaway from the last few days is that standing up to Donald Trump is the thing to do. We've learned this from Mark Carney. We've now learned it from the Europeans who've stood up to him on Greenland. He backs down every single time, and this is no exception. Today, he really seemed to back down based on the threat of, not the threat, the actual reality of the military showing up in Greenland. And to me, that's a lesson that Americans need to look at in every single way. He will back down if we push back. Right now, there's not a lot of domestic pushback happening. A lot of people are just letting him get away with it, whether that's fear or otherwise. But the reality of what we've seen in the real world is that he backs down almost every single time. And Carney is a great example. Europeans are the second example. Maybe the American people could be the third.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yeah. Jacob Carswell, former Danish Intelligence UN Security Council member. I will see you on the 25th. Take good care of Malcolm. I think he gets there tonight or tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Yeah, and call us up Friday night.
Yeah, we will.
Live from Nuuk.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
We can do that. Yeah.
We'll do it.
So,
I'll do it.
Just do me a favor, because we're going to be housemates in Nuuk. Make sure that Malcolm doesn't take the king-size bed.
There's only one king-size bed.
That'll be a big fight. That'll be a row. But anyway, I gotta pack all my Arctic gear and get going.
Well, safe travels.
And then we'll do some good stuff from up there.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
Jacob
we got
Carswell.
some Substack Lives, daily evening wrap-ups. We're going to do some stuff with Arctic Command. We have a bunch of surprises for everybody.
I will say one final thing, that I have not had time to fundraise. So if people trust me, they can go and become paid subscribers, perhaps. And then...
Oh, I didn't even do that. That just cut off by itself. Did I lose you all? How did I lose you all? No. What just happened? I lost Dean. I lost... What? How does that happen? That's not right. Are you guys still seeing me at home? I am sorry. I was loving that conversation. Let me double check what's going on. I hate to do that, and I don't know why it would do it, but it just did it. I see we're still connected, but I don't know if... let me see. All right, well, guys, tell me if you can still see me, because I think you can, and I'll try to reconnect these gentlemen as soon as I can. I apologize for that. What's going on? You might have noticed some technical issues the last few days, because we are trying out some super duper new technology, which is all lovely. It gives us a lot of tech capability to do a lot of things, but apparently doesn't get us exactly what we need in terms of stability here. So my deep apologies for this happening right now, as I'm going to try to figure it out. Dean, where is Dean? Dean, are you still there? Let me see if he's still there. Sorry about this, gentlemen and ladies. Boy, that speech yesterday by Mark Carney was a good speech. I was really stunned by how well he was received around the world. It's not uncommon for a Canadian prime minister to get some attention, but it's not the kind of attention Canadian prime ministers normally get. This is pretty impressive what they got. Now, if Dean I see Dean, and let's get him back. There you are.
Hi. Yeah,
Sorry.
That ended awfully fast, right in the middle of everybody needs to subscribe to Jacob. Go subscribe. He's not fundraising, but go and subscribe. Become a paid subscriber. Jacob Carswell's your guy. Danish Intelligence. You get daily news briefings. You get to support our trip to Greenland. And while I was waiting, I don't know if you saw this news.
No.
NATO chief Mark Rutte agrees with Donald Trump, saying they have formed a framework for a future deal on Greenland.
All right. How's that?
Well, these are the bullet points. This is kind of breaking news, everybody. U.S. President Donald Trump said he has, quote, formed the framework of a future deal on Greenland after meeting with NATO chief Mark Rutte in Davos, Switzerland, describing it as a, quote, infinite agreement without providing any specifics, so it's largely an exaggeration and a lie. Trump also said no tariffs are no longer needed on European nations that opposed his ambitions, so he's going to drop those tariffs. During his remarks earlier, he ruled out using military force, doubled down on his demand of the island. The possible price tag Who knows? Could be in the billions. Says he might actually end up paying Greenlanders for their country. And about 13 minutes ago, NATO chief agreed, Mark Rutte, that U.S. President Donald Trump's Truth Social post about reaching a framework for a deal on Greenland was, quote, exactly the point. His Truth Social post, Rutte says, is exactly the point, and I agree with that. Rutte told reporters, very ambiguous, but whatever, that, quote, they had a very good meeting with Trump. Pressed for further questions, Rutte said, read the Truth Social post. You will see everything. There will be more conversations. So what is that framework? Infinite deals? Never heard of them. Trump intentionally, ambiguously, completely fucking confusing yet again, and trying to explain to people that Trump, the infinite deal is a long-term deal, the ultimate long-term deal, and I think it puts everybody in a good situation. He told Caitlin Collins, and that they were going to have
like
Greenland to some extent.
It sounds like have Greenland? Is that what they said? I mean, it sounds like a lot of face saving for the Fox News audience. You know, it seems like he'll be able to go on TV tonight and say, "Yeah, we got a deal, everybody, we got a deal." But like the tariff deals that he got all the way around the world, they weren't really there. Maybe they'll come to fruition at some point. But you know, I can't imagine Greenland is going to be sold to anybody at this point. Nor can I imagine Denmark giving it up. So not after this response, but you'll find out when you get there.
Well, yeah, I will. Fuck, now I really want to get there. You know, because this is still what it is, right? Which is Donald Trump's machination that he wants to have Greenland. Well, what he's saying to everybody is he struck a deal for Greenland, leaving apart all of the details. Mark Rutte is just literally riding the coattails of, he called him Daddy a year ago, if you remember that. Yeah, Daddy's in the house. And he's riding the coattails of Daddy, being also purposely ambiguous. And to your point, that ambiguity lends itself to face saving when it comes to months worth of invasion rhetoric, when it comes to months worth of Fox News stories about the importance of Greenland, about the lies that he's told, which have been plentiful, specifically in these excuses, whether it's golden domes or national security or fucking energy or China or Russia snooping around the coastline of Greenland. All of those have been lies. And what this does, if I'm kind of reading the tea leaves, because the foreign minister of Denmark today, prior to actually coming on, said he didn't understand the rhetoric, the public rhetoric about Greenland, because privately they have had several conversations with Trump about doing deals for rare earth, having them come and you know, apply for the same process and be part of, you know, the endangered community, specifically the flora and fauna around there. You know, Europeans take that seriously. So they, in no way did they tell Americans they couldn't come, they couldn't do business, they couldn't bring their troops there, they couldn't help fortify North America. But that wasn't part of any fucking public conversation, which was so confusing for the people of Denmark. So if indeed this is face saving on behalf of Mark Rutte, trying to help Trump out of a fucking jam because he painted himself into a "I'm going to invade Greenland" corner, so be it. Cooler heads prevailed. Yeah. However, I highly doubt, for everybody out there, because I just got a text from a buddy of mine. He's like, Trump just took Greenland. I'm like, no, he didn't. Because I highly doubt that in any way, shape, or form, Denmark, after all of this, after all of the rhetoric from the allies and the coalition of the willing, that they're just going to fucking hand it to him in an infinite deal.
And nor would NATO be able to do that, nor would the Secretary General of NATO be able to hand over any territory to anybody. But, you know, in terms of a conflict with Russia and them trying to also send a message to Russia, there could be something there that they're trying to signal to Russia that there is some sort of deal, that this will take a little bit more time. I don't know. There might be something there that this is more about performing for, you know, not propaganda purposes, but for public consumption of, and see if you know what Putin does. It's really an interesting development. Mark Rutte cannot give away anything not give away any country to anybody. So they could say that as much as they want, but you know he can't do it. There's other breaking news today. Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act almost unanimously last November. Now there was an attempt earlier on by two sitting Congress people to this is Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, to get that judge who's involved in the Maxwell case to oversee all the DOJ release of Epstein files. And today he responded to a motion by the DOJ saying, they can't do this. These guys can't just, interrupt our case here. And he agreed that they can't interrupt the case. But he also redirected them. He said, Congress has a special right and capability to do things that the other branches can't do, and he encouraged them to do that. And he also encouraged a separate lawsuit to try and get a court or to try and get the DOJ to compel them to release the documents. So it wasn't a complete shutdown, but it certainly was a shutdown of this particular attempt to get the judge to oversee the Epstein files. So that may still, it's not a bad news story. It made me depressed for a few seconds, but then I read the entire thing and I was like, okay, there's some avenues here for redirection, and maybe there's more to the story than we see.
It's funny because Lev and I had a chat about it this morning with his ongoing effort to help get, Michael Cohen to cough up the information that he has, that he's willing to horse trade for a pardon about these Epstein girls, about these victims, about the payoffs, about the threats that Trump and Cohen and the Epstein cabal incurred with these victims. And the interesting thing here is that there's enough information to subpoena with less than 1% of these Epstein files. To subpoena Lex Wexner, to subpoena
Wexner,
Steve fucking Bannon, Michael Cohen, like fucking everybody, right? There's enough information to Bill Clinton, Donald, everybody involved in less than 1%. And 2 days ago, before the Great Orange Menace left for Davos, he held this weird press conference where he was going through like wanted posters of people they captured in Minnesota. We talked about it yesterday. And he effectively said, yeah, I'm not giving you shit for the Epstein files. You'll get what you get, and you'll like what you get, and that's it. It's over, effectively intimating that he outfoxed everybody. That was kind of the take that I took from it. So this is fascinating to me because we get another judicial review and another judge saying, no, I'm going to put it back in their court. And listen, everybody, with the exception of Congress, that's involved in this thing in a judicial way, from the GOP, they have the opportunity just to fucking put it out like right now. They could do it right now. They could do it like they have everything. They could do it right now. A judge could say that's going out right now, unredacted. So watching these guys kick this fucking football, this nuclear Epstein files football back and forth, when we all know when the subpoenas are flying, is just fucking embarrassing for the American judiciary and embarrassing when it comes to getting justice and accountability for the victims. Again,
they're breaking the law, and that's one thing. You got to wonder what would drive someone to break the law so much. What is in these files that is so terrifying that they're breaking the law to do it. We know, and I can tell you something about Michael Cohen. The stuff that he even mentioned in that interview, that interview that I went back and watched it, the interview I did with him, Lev was there, Ellie was there, Nick was there. And it's interesting, he gave away something in that interview I don't think he was intending to give away. And it really feeds into The Greatest Heist and explains, I think your microphone's off, by the way, but it really explains why, it's on now. It explains why he may be shut down so quickly. I think that there's a lot of questions around Donald Trump's levels of debt and liquidity throughout the years that you really have to focus on. And I'll be revealing this on Fridays in the Greatest Heist. But something Michael Cohen said in that interview really tweaked me to that. And that made me think that there is a lot of knowledge in Michael Cohen. And if Michael Cohen is ever compelled to testify, as he should, there's a lot of information that he is withholding, probably, if he knows the details of this financial aspects of this crime. Because, the more I look at it, and I've looked at it too many times, but it's like, this looks like a financial crime issue much more than it does any other criminal enterprise.
Oh, yeah, without question. And you know what? Michael Cohen knows where every single red cent of threatening payoff dollars went, right? Like, he just does it by virtue of him being Trump's fixer, threatener, chief fucking bottle washer when it comes to criminality, paying people off, threatening people that threatened Donald Trump. That is what Michael Cohen was all about. And if you go to Lev Remembers, you check out his timeline, you'll hear a clip of him threatening somebody from, I believe it was the Daily Beast. Yeah. And, it was funny because we were chatting, Lev and I were chatting. He goes, that's the fucking Michael Cohen I've known for 40 years. Like he's never going to change, right? A shit leopard never changes shit spots. It's just, in the words of Mr. Leahy from the Trailer Park Boys, a shit leopard never changes its shit leopard spots. And that is exactly what Michael Cohen is. And again, you go back to it all the time, and you're right. The real shame of it is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of women. In Cohen's case, maybe there are a dozen or dozens that he helped brush off, threaten, push off, and he knows far more. And when we have conversations, and this is the part that I couldn't understand about Cohen, this was the part that always shocked me about Cohen. I said this today, is that Michael Cohen on his redemption tour, like, legitimately always went back to the same fucking talking points, and they always ended with him somehow trying to protect Trump's reputation when it came to Russia, him trying to protect Trump's reputation when it came to Epstein. And the reason why is because the central figure, the crucible here in all of the fixing around this is one Michael Cohen, to your point. So, and I agree with Lev. I mean, just that one email alone, that man should be in front of Congress today telling everybody what he knew and what he wanted to horse trade about Epstein and Trump for a shorter sentence when he was in lockup. Yeah. That is a subpoena-worthy fucking email.
I agree with you. And Lev will be doing something with me tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll bring up this issue and other issues. You should join if you can, but I'm sure you've got all sorts of things. But if you can, join us.
I'll see. Yeah, I'll come. He informed me about it this morning. It's funny. He's like, hey, I'm going to be on a panel with Zev, and you're going to be there too. And I'm like, I had no idea that was going on.
He did say that. He said that to me too. So there you go. At number 4 in the countdown is the story. The Justice Department, according to a filing today, says that Elon Musk's DOGE's team improperly shared Social Security data through an unapproved server. Now, we suspected this was going on when it was happening. And of course, sometimes we're right. This time we were right. Social Security Administration can't figure out what data got shared or if it's still sitting on these external servers somewhere. According to this filing, there's a Cloudflare account that was shared for 10 days in March. There's a guy named Steve Davis, who was a DOGE employee and a senior advisor to Musk. And he's on a personal email to Social Security info about 1,000 people, data being shared around. So we're not sure what he was using it for, but the allegation seems to indicate that it could have been used to try and subvert election results, that they were using this particular Social Security data in order to change voters or sort of challenge voting registrations in various parts of the country. That's the allegation. So it's a serious allegation. It's something we expected he was doing. We all said it at the time. DOGE looked to us like it was just mining data in order to interfere in elections. Now here's some evidence that is in fact what happened. And, talk about people who need to be subpoenaed, Elon Musk and DOGE for one thing. But it's interesting that
How
case
has he not been subpoenaed in all this? That's the question I have. Like, let's deal with the Epstein files. He was the guy that opened up the fucking idea that Donald Trump was in the Epstein files with a one tweet after they got in a big fight and he got kicked out of fucking the White House, right? And DOGE. And Trump's like, get out of here. You're crazy. You do too many fucking mushrooms and too much ketamine at work. You're fucked. And so he's like, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files and I'm going to start the American Party and I'm going to take over the world. He's gone notoriously quiet. But to your point, he's fucking front and center and needs to be part of it. Now, when it comes to DOGE, this is interesting because that story tags into the story that you broke about a whistleblower as DOGE was hoovering up information to different countries. Yeah. So if you folks, if you think it's like mice, I say this all the time, if you got one, you got 100. If you think they've only taken information, specifically very personal, pertinent information and data points from Social Security of only 1,000 Americans?
No.
They
have everything.
I got news for you.
They have everything. They've
all.
cross-referenced it. They've databased it. It now sits in AI servers that can be, screened and cross-referenced in a million ways. And it's also probably in the Kremlin. I mean, that's where the allegation was that these Starlink satellites were basically depositing all this data. They're basically siphoning it out of the U.S. federal government into the Kremlin. Which so far has not been discredited or disproved at all. None of this has been investigated. We haven't done an audit of where this data went, of if anything is missing. It's going to be very late by the time anyone gets around to checking it. But it does tell you that DOGE, as we suspected, was involved in some nefarious things, potentially vote altering things, as they were siphoning up all that information from the U.S. government. The next story on the
Sorry, real quick. If anybody gets an Elon sighting, let us know, because no one's seen him apparently for like 3 weeks, physically seen him.
Oh, yeah.
He tweets. No, something's going on with him. Something
maybe
physical, something mental, something emotional. Something's going on with him. Anyway, next story number 3. Yeah, keep an eye on it.
The Supreme Court heard arguments today on Trump trying to fire the federal Fed governor, Lisa Cook, and justices on both sides expressed serious skepticism. It's rare for this court to do it, but it was an interesting hearing. I don't know if you caught any of it. Brett Kavanaugh said Trump's position would weaken, if not shatter, the independence of the Federal Reserve. So if that's Kavanaugh's position, it's not going well for the government's case. He warned it incentivizes a president to come up with trivial or inconsequential or old allegations that are very difficult to disprove. Sort of the search and destroy, no process, nothing, you're done. Wow. Even conservative Justice Alito asked why they're rushing such a huge case. Sotomayor said the Fed independence is harmed if we decide these issues too quickly. Now, of course, the federal chairman is currently under investigation by the DOJ. This is obviously part of this is the idea that the president is looking for the right to charge people in order to fire them. But it looks like Lisa Cook will keep her job, which is a good thing for the Fed and for everybody, really.
Yeah, and now, and I know we got to move on to story number 3 because we're running out of time. But now, everybody, keep your eyes and ears peeled for Jerome Powell's job, because Donald Trump is trying to have him criminally charged. This is fucking great, with going over expenses, going over the price that was supposed to be paid for new Fed Reserve buildings. And Donald Trump, if you remember the video on construction site with Jerome Powell, he's like, "You're $2 billion over budget. That's a problem." Jerome Powell's like, "No, we're not." And he's like, "Yeah, you are. It's right here." And he pulls out a piece of paper. He looks at it. He goes, "Yeah, that's for 2 buildings, meathead. Like that you've included a whole second building in this, and that's not being renovated, and that's the worth of that building, and this is what it costs. We're right on fucking budget." And he's like, "It's not what I hear."
It's kind of dumb to accuse the Fed chairman of bad accounting, It's like, don't go up with them on numbers. Do it on something you're good at. But it's such a Bobby move. Like, you could see him pulling the same thing on a construction site in New York City with like the mob workers there, or the union saying, "Hey, you're over budget," or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like press. It's so typical. Number 2. Trump at Davos today specifically called Minnesota, saying ICE gets beat up by stupid people. And Minnesota doesn't appreciate the federal help that they're getting. Meanwhile, back in Minneapolis, ICE presence has surged in South Minneapolis today. City Council introducing an ordinance to ban ICE from using city property, and they may get away with that. VP Vance is also touring tomorrow. What can you say about this? I mean, when you're calling your own residents and your own citizens stupid, but it's your federal agents that are shooting people and tear gassing people, it just says everything you need to know about this guy. As for this new website they have, where they're publishing all these photos and alleged criminal acts of these people they're supposedly arresting and removing from Minnesota and Minneapolis. There's a few people on there. It sure looks like they've arrested a few, but is it worthy of this kind of crackdown? Thousands of agents pouring into a state surrounding Minneapolis and really targeting people, even citizens, in their homes at night. This is beyond traditional law enforcement.
It's not. It's an act. It's an engineered reality based on agitating the people of Minnesota. 4,000, I think the last number I saw were 4,000, detainments and arrests in Minnesota. 4,000.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Specifically Minneapolis proper. Again, I'll go over this number. Do you know how many criminal illegal aliens they've arrested and detained?
You gave it to
out
me
of
yesterday.
that 4,000? Yeah, 24.
24, yeah.
Not
2,400. Do we know how many criminals?
No, they didn't release that information. Yeah. Probably not.
Just arresting 24. People randomly. I mean, it's so pathetic. It's so, and the intention is so clearly to rile people up. It's all designed for the very, very wrong purpose. I can't wait to see Vance.
In Davos today, he made specific mention of Minnesota. Completely lied, completely gaslit, completely engineered a false reality that, is your point, Antifa, radical left lunatics, professionals, agitators were beating up cops. None of that has fucking happened. And then he went all in a multicultural global world leadership review at WEF on it's the fucking Somalis.
Somalis.
It's all the Somalis. And then he's like, I thought they were low IQ, but turns out they're pretty high IQ to steal $30 billion from me.
Yeah, but there's no evidence of this, by the way.
No, there's none. And literally the woman who is the kingpin of the whole daycare fraud thing is a white chick who's 47 years old and goes to church on Sundays and votes for Trump. Nowhere to lie. And she's in jail right now. She's like the mastermind behind the whole scam. And it wasn't just Somali daycares. It was all the fucking daycares. But long story short, this Minnesota thing is exactly what Donald Trump wants for the rest of America. His justification and the engineered reality of a bunch of radical left lunatics teaming up with criminal migrants that are all part of the same Antifa gang is such a load of shit. It is unbelievable. And now what you have, and I don't know if you've seen some of the videos, America's the most armed country in the fucking world, right? Democrats own guns too. People who hate Trump own guns too. Citizens protecting their homes due to their 2A right, their Second Amendment right, are standing in front of their houses in areas where ICE is roaming around with fucking rifles and shotguns. And they're telling ICE as they go by, you don't do it on my street. Just protecting my neighborhood. There's about 30 of us. You don't do it on our street. And they're listening. Like ICE is going by these houses, and white people, specifically white men, white women, are literally going out with their weapons, standing in front of a lot of different homes and neighborhoods. And this is really a beautiful story if it wasn't so fucking scary. Trying to protect their neighbors by standing armed in front of their fucking houses because they're white and they have guns. Like that's happening in Minnesota right now. We are civil war ready.
Yeah, but it does also feel like a civil war is ready. That's if you want a situation that's could be lit at any point. That's what it looks like. The number one story on the countdown today. Everyone's going to be watching this tomorrow at 10 a.m. Jack Smith. He's having his first and probably only public session where he's testifying in front of the Judicial Committee.
Trump's trying to shut it down right now too. He's
is he?
Trying to shut it down. Oh yeah.
I think they're trying very hard to limit some of the evidence he's going to be able to talk about. But Jack Smith's a very even-keeled and very smart guy. He's going to have a lot to say tomorrow, and if his previous testimony is anything to go by. And he won't be able to say as much as he did in that testimony, but there'll be a lot of evidence about how Trump tried to steal the last elections and beyond. So this is just true, and Jack Smith will be the most searched name tomorrow, beginning at 10 a.m. We'll have live coverage here, our narrative.
Did you see real quick, and we'll cover it too, so we'll cover it together. If you can, we'll have it on my channel, SteamBlundell.substack.com. We'll do it at narrative.org, where my very dear friend Zev Shalev is always on this stuff. I don't know if you noticed it, but he made mention of Jack Smith today.
I didn't hear that part.
People were coming for me, like Jack Smith. And then he goes like this, That sick son of a bitch.
He looked so bad
Jack
today.
Smith, that sick son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Underlying fucking narrative is, you're right.
Yeah.
That man is not long for terra firma. Like Donald Trump, if you watch today, outside of all the crazy rhetoric, Greenland, Somalis, fucking, I could crush the housing market in the United States if I wanted. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Aside from the threatening of Canada telling Mark Carney to watch your fucking back, he was so fucking sickly. Like, low energy, slurring, incoherent.
I mean,
Put your
Iceland.
hands together, everybody. I'm not a praying man. Oh, yeah, and he thought Greenland was Iceland for a solid hour. Put your hands together. Pray to the good Lord if you're a praying man or woman. Let it be over soon, everybody.
Carolyn Levitt
We're
actually
close.
denied that he used Iceland. Everyone's like, but we also
Did she really?
You can't deny it. We've seen it.
What
We know
did,
exactly
what did she say? She's
Yeah,
like,
she
he
says
didn't say that?
Yeah, she denied it. She didn't do it. It's so crazy. But that's the world these days.
MAGA ISIS Barbie. Listen, Caroline Levitt, here's some advice for you. When you squeeze out that spawn of Satan you're having with your geriatric grandpa husband, when you squeeze that thing out, just fucking go away. Go live in the woods. Go practice your fucking sorcery somewhere else. You're done. We laugh every time that Karen opens up her yap and says something like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I didn't see that.
She wants Hannity's slot on Fox News. I think that's where she's going, is writing to Hannity and Fox News. Yeah, that's where they all go.
Probably.
That's what happens when you're a White House press secretary. Dean, that's the FiveStack today. We might see you tonight at 7 p.m. We might see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., 7 p.m. tonight and 10 a.m. tomorrow. And we'll see you in Greenland. Tell everyone about Greenland and tell them anything you want to tell them about your great site, deanblundell.substack.com.
Yeah, go there today if you want the completely abridged version of Trump's insanity at Davos. I've broken it down clip by clip, and it's a nice little tour. You can do it in like 7 minutes. You can go, oh, my God, that guy needs to be put in a home and never be allowed to use fucking anything but plastic cutlery again. So please go and check that out. We've got 25% off. And listen, I don't need anybody to help me fundraise anymore. All good. We're going with the good people at the Save America movement. The support that you've shown me over the past several days and my subscriber count, it has truly been, humbling. And that's all I want. I want people to follow along. I want people to share the content we're going to bring back. I want people to see what goes on at Arctic Command with Operation Endurance exercises. I want people to see, the concern on the looks of people that love their country, Greenland, Denmark. I want you to see what the real heat on the other side of the EU and another country in Trump's crosshairs, as we are, what they're saying. And we also need to provide them a line of sight into better America, because a massive swath, I would say 80-85% of Americans don't want this for Greenland either. They fully support Greenland. So we're going to take that support with us. And we're going to bring back some great content. We'll have nightly Substack Live. So if you could go and subscribe, there's 25% off for annual subscriptions right now. You'll get unlimited access and lock in that price for life. But the other part of this, which is fascinating, is that you're going to be behind the scenes in places no one on earth is allowed, because we've got Malcolm Nance, Jacob Carswell, Ken Harbaugh, military veterans going to stand up and literally adhere to the oath they swore to the Constitution in the first place for the people of Greenland, for the people of the United States of America. So very fortunate I'm going with them. And all I need for people to do is subscribe. That's it. Free or paid. Paid always gets the stuff to the top of the algorithm. We want to share exclusive content, paid content, and we will. But just subscribe, deanblundell.substack.com. And, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking for somebody in your life that's able to explain the context to you, that has a series that gives you all the dirt, all the scoop, all the shit, if you're interested in following somebody who is my North Star, please go to narrative.org. What do you have for us at narrative.org this week, my friend?
Well, we'll be talking tonight about Michael Cohen, as you know, with Lev Parnas. The Greatest Heist, chapter 7 is 8 coming out this Friday. If I finally finish it, and I should do it, it's a good one. It's a really good one. But we'll also be talking about Greenland tonight as we continue this analysis of what's going on with NATO. We've been leading the coverage for the last few days and continue to do so. So see you tonight at 7:00. We'll do some Greenland, some Epstein, some everything. It's going to be a good show. We'll see you then, and I hope you're joining it. And if you need any help for your stuff from Greenland, let me know. Now that this thing's working, we made it through a whole show. We made it through a show.
OMG, we did. Yeah, way to go. You fucking figured it out. It took us a week. And everybody, listen, if you need some quick free tech advice, just get into Zeb. Zeb will help you set up your email.
You'd be better off asking your grandfather to do this. This is terrible. I took so long to figure this out, but I finally did.
I'm worse. I am so grateful for you, my friend. And listen, I think the world of you and what you're doing. And I'm so grateful for the last year that we've had a chance to do this. And, we've only been at it for a year. We've got, several thousand people watching us right now. It started with a couple hundred. And so thank you, my friend. None of this is possible without your professionalism and dogged determination to do the right thing. So appreciate you.
Likewise, always a big fan of yours. That is the show tonight. The FiveStack will return tomorrow at 3:00. Have a good one.